日本国憲法第7条により衆議院を解散する。
Today, Japan's Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi made a decision that instantly changed the country's political future. She dissolved parliament and called for a snap election. It sounds procedural, but in politics, this is one of the riskiest moves a leader can make. A snap election shortens the campaign and forces the country into an immediate vote. It is a gamble on timing, public mood, and political momentum. For the Prime Minister, the goal is simple: to return with stronger authority to govern. But history shows that early elections often carry unexpected consequences. When leaders rush to the polls, they risk losing control of the narrative, and they risk turning confidence into uncertainty. This decision comes at a moment when Japan faces economic pressure and political division. Supporters see the move as bold leadership. Critics see it as a dangerous political gamble. And for voters, it creates a sudden choice. A decision made at the top now belongs to the public. The question is no longer why Parliament was dissolved. The question is what this gamble will change. This is the story of a political decision made under pressure, and the risks that come with choosing the moment of an election. In the next chapter, we look at what a snap election really means, and why this one could reshape Japan's future. A snap election is an election called earlier than originally scheduled, a break from the normal political calendar. In many countries with parliaments, regular elections occur at set intervals, but a snap election interrupts that cycle. In Japan, the Prime Minister can dissolve the lower house of parliament, known as the Diet, and call a new vote. Snap elections are usually called for strategic reasons: to secure a stronger majority, resolve political deadlock, or capitalize on high approval. They differ from other types of elections. A by-election only fills individual seats. A recall targets a single representative. In practice, snap elections compress the campaign timeline, often drastically, and give voters a sudden choice. This power is part of the parliamentary system where the executive depends on legislative confidence. Political scientists call this a high-risk tactic. It can secure a renewed mandate, or weaken public trust if seen as a political ploy. In Japan's case, the snap vote will take place just weeks after the decision was announced. For voters and leaders alike, a snap election is a test of confidence in the government, in the opposition, and in the electorate itself. But the reasons for calling one, and the risks involved, start even before ballots are cast. Calling a snap election is never random. It is usually driven by timing. For Japan's Prime Minister, this decision came only weeks after taking office. That early moment of leadership can feel like an opportunity. Public approval was relatively high, and the opposition was still reorganizing. In politics, that combination can look like a window of advantage. A snap election can turn popularity into authority. It can also silence internal rivals and strengthen control inside a party. For a new leader, legitimacy matters as much as policy. A strong election result can redefine a leader's position overnight. But this decision was not only about politics, it was also about policy. Japan faces economic pressure and difficult choices on spending and reform. An election can delay these debates or clear the way for them. Supporters see this as a chance to secure a mandate before controversy grows. Critics argue it risks turning politics into a game of timing rather than trust. In past cases, leaders have used snap elections to reset the political board. Sometimes the gamble works, and sometimes it exposes hidden dissatisfaction. The risk is not just losing seats, it is losing momentum. In this case, the decision compressed weeks of politics into days. And with that speed comes uncertainty. Every snap election carries risk, but this one comes with unusually high uncertainty. The first risk is speed. A shortened campaign leaves little time for debate, explanation, or public reflection. When politics moves faster than understanding, confusion can replace confidence. The second risk is perception. Voters may interpret the decision not as leadership, but as political calculation. In democratic systems, trust matters as much as results. And once trust is questioned, even strong policies can struggle to gain support. The third risk is timing. Economic pressures and rising costs of living shape how citizens vote. An early election brings those concerns to the center of national attention. And elections can amplify frustration as easily as confidence. The fourth risk is fragmentation. A snap election can energize opposition groups that were previously divided. What begins as a show of strength can become a test of unity. There is also an institutional risk. Budgets, reforms, and legislation may be delayed during an election period. In moments of uncertainty, governments often pause instead of act. History offers mixed lessons. Some snap elections strengthen leadership. Others expose dissatisfaction that had been hidden beneath stability. The danger is not only losing power. It is reshaping political trust in ways that cannot be easily repaired. And as Election Day approaches, the consequences of this decision move from theory to reality. Now the decision has been made, and the country waits. Campaigns begin, speeches are written, and voters prepare to choose. What started as a political strategy becomes a public moment. For the Prime Minister, this election is more than a vote. It is a test of authority, trust, and timing. For the opposition, it is a sudden opportunity. And for voters, it is a rare moment to respond to a decision made above them. Snap elections compress months of politics into days. They turn uncertainty into urgency. But urgency does not always bring clarity. Some will see this as decisive leadership. Others will see it as an unnecessary gamble. The outcome will not only shape a government, it will shape how future leaders think about risk. In politics, the hardest part of a decision is living with its consequences. And sometimes history is written not by certainty, but by timing.